May 31st, 2006, Stockholm. A teenager's bedroom server is about to become the most hunted machine on Earth. That server hosts the Pirate Bay, a site responsible for bleeding Hollywood studios of $30 billion, crippling music labels, and making a mockery of international copyright law. 53 armed police officers stormed the data center, seizing every server, every cable, every piece of hardware in what should be the death blow. By noon, Swedish prosecutors hold victory press conferences. Hollywood executives toast their win. The world's most notorious piracy empire, used by 25 million people daily, is finally dead. But 72 hours later, the Pirate Bay blinks back online as if nothing happened. Its homepage now mocks them with a pirate ship firing cannonballs at Hollywood's sign. But here's what terrifies every government and corporation watching. The site didn't just survive, it became impossible to kill. They seized every physical server, arrested the founders, and it still came back. If you can't destroy this, you can't control the internet. How did 3 Swedish hackers build something unkillable? And what did they understand that billion-dollar corporations didn't? Under the bed, Stockholm, 2001. Gottfried's smart art home sits cross-legged on his bedroom floor, watching cables snake from a jury-rigged server under his bed. He's 19, shaggy-haired with a skeptical smile, and eyes that light up when discussing cryptography. His online handle is Anakata, a name that will become legend and curse. In 2003, he and 2 allies, Fredrik Tammo, Nagedge, and Peter Brutsunda, wire together a BitTorrent tracker as a side project for Pirate Byron, an anti-copyright collective operating from a Stockholm warehouse. Their mission is to make file sharing frictionless. No gatekeepers, no apologies, and no tracking logs. Gottfried's home server becomes the beating heart of this experiment. The tracker catches fire faster than any of them predicted. By late 2004, their hobby project has a name, the Pirate Bay, and 40,000 users, swapping everything from open source Linux distributions to Hollywood's latest releases. Every torrent downloaded passes through Gottfried's machine. The bandwidth bills start making his parents nervous. Fredrik suggests they need commercial hosting fast. So they launch PRQ, a hosting company with one rule. We host anything. We keep 0 logs. While competitors fold under legal pressure, PRQ wears takedown notices like merit badges. The New York Times will later describe them as highly secure, no questions asked, operators with considerable expertise in withstanding legal attacks. The translation is basically, bring your lawsuits if you can. We dare you. The dares pile up quickly. In February 2004, DreamWorks attorneys send a cease and desist demanding removal of Shrek to torrents. Gottfried's response becomes internet folklore. Sweden is not a state in the United States of America. For your information, no Swedish law is being violated. It is the opinion of us and our lawyers that you are morons. He suggests the Hollywood lawyers perform an anatomically creative act with retractable batons, then signs off, go _ yourself. Polite as usual, Anakata. Instead of cowering, the Pirate Bay posts the entire exchange on their homepage. The letter goes viral. Traffic to the site triples overnight. Every legal threat becomes free advertising for their outlaw brand. By mid-2005, Pirate Bay is managing traffic that would make most tech startups envious. The site runs on code Gottfried writes mostly alone, including a custom tracker called Hypercube that coordinates file sharing across millions of machines simultaneously. At peak, 25 million peers worldwide connect through Pirate Bay's infrastructure, enough traffic to rank among the internet's top 100 sites. The interface stays deliberately bare, a search bar, a pirate ship logo, and an ocean of content. Under that simplicity, Gottfried architects something approaching digital immortality. Every new user makes the network harder to destroy. Every shared file creates redundancy. It's not a website anymore. It's a living organism growing faster than anyone can regulate it. The Motion Picture Association of America watches this growth with mounting fury. Their lawsuits against individual downloaders aren't working. The real target is the infrastructure making it all possible, and that infrastructure has a home address in Sweden. By early 2006, MPAA lobbyists are working Swedish diplomatic channels, pushing officials to act emails fly between Hollywood and Stockholm. Pressure builds. Swedish authorities, normally hands-off about internet regulation, start feeling heat from across the Atlantic. The government wants this problem gone. May 2006. Gottfred's phone vibrates with a warning from a contact inside Sweden's telecom industry. Police are mobilizing. He calls Fredrik. They've wargamed this scenario for months. Their disaster recovery plan is simple. Database backups sit encrypted on servers in the Netherlands, ready to deploy. If the main infrastructure falls, they'll rebuild Pirate Bay before Swedish TV finishes the evening news. Gottfred has spent 2 years making sure the site's entire existence can fit on a thumb drive and resurrect anywhere with electricity and bandwidth. Now at dawn, that preparation will be tested by 53 armed officers. The raid is coming in hours, but here's what nobody in law enforcement understands yet. They're about to seize hardware, while the data, the only thing that matters, is already halfway to Amsterdam. How long will it take police to realize they've captured an empty fortress? And what will Godfrey do when they come for him personally? The raid, May 31st, 2006, 5:47 AM. The first door goes down in Brang, a Stockholm suburb where a bandwidth provider houses Pirate Bay's primary servers. Officers move in synchronized teams. 10 locations hit simultaneously. In the server room, metal racks get unplugged mid-operation. Hard drives slide into evidence bags. Technicians in the building stand frozen, hands raised as police haul out equipment on wheeled dollies. Gottfred SMA and Fredrik NY are cuffed and driven to separate interrogation rooms. By 11 AM, Swedish television is running breaking news. Notorious piracy website shut down. The police spokesperson tells cameras they've dismantled a major criminal operation. On forums worldwide, panic spreads. In Stockholm, hundreds rally in Mentor Square, waving pirate flags and chanting, "Free the Bay." It looks like Hollywood scored a clean knockout. The Pirate Bay's URL returns only error messages. MPAA representatives issue statements congratulating Swedish authorities on their decisive action against digital theft. Rights holders calculate lost revenue they believe will now return, but nobody is counting on what happens next. June 2nd, 2006. Just after midnight, whispers circulate. The site is back, users refresh their browsers. The homepage loads. The pirate ship logo now has a new detail. It's firing cannonballs at a hillside sign labeled Hollywood across the top. A message. The galaxy's most resilient BitTorrent site. In the raid's confusion, Gottfred's team had executed their contingency plan flawlessly. They migrated the complete database to servers in Amsterdam, rerouted DNS, and brought everything online in 72 hours. The police seized the hardware, but they couldn't touch the community or the code that actually mattered. Peter Sunder, the site's public face, holds a press conference from his Stockholm apartment. Reporters crowd around his laptop. The downtime wasn't fear, he explains. Grinning, "We were scaling up infrastructure to handle all the new traffic you journalists just sent us." He's not exaggerating. The raid has become the greatest advertising campaign in Pirate Bay history. Traffic explodes, doubling, then tripling pre-raid numbers. The site crashes repeatedly from surge load, not police action. Gottfred and Fredrik work 20-hour shifts stabilizing servers. Hollywood tried to kill them and accidentally made them invincible. Behind the scenes, they're hardening the operation for the next assault. Multiple mirror sites go live across Europe and Asia. The codebase gets modularized, designed to deploy on any server in any country within hours. They distribute backup copies to trusted admins in 6 nations. When a Swedish journalist asks how they'll survive the next raid, Fredrik doesn't hesitate. "We have plans in other countries, we're not stupid." The swagger is earned. They're treating law enforcement as just another network problem to root around. Swedish prosecutors embarrassed double down. They comb through seized evidence, building a criminal case. Meanwhile, Pirate Bay posts the actual police warrant on their homepage with sarcastic margin notes. "Lol, good luck with that. Try harder." The trolling is relentless. Users send donations, traffic climbs to 30 million visits daily. What started under Gottfred's bed now runs on infrastructure spanning 3 continents. The raid meant to destroy them has transformed Pirate Bay into a global phenomenon. In Los Angeles, New York and London, executives are livid. If a sovereign nation's police can't keep a piracy site down for even 3 days, what does that mean for control of the internet? Boardrooms fill with lawyers drafting new strategies. Political pressure intensifies. New laws get proposed. The hunters are regrouping. And this time, they're targeting the people, not the servers. A trial is coming that will decide more than just the fate of 3 Swedish hackers. It will test whether the old rules of copyright can survive the age of decentralized networks. The Pirate Bay survived the raid, but now they face something harder to dodge, a courtroom designed to make examples of pirates. Will Gottfried's technical genius translate to a legal defense? And what happens when the establishment decides to imprison the symbol itself? The trial. February 16th, 2009. Stockholm District Court. 4 men sit at the defense table. Gottfried, pale and smirking. Frederick Nye, arms crossed. Peter Sunder tweeting in real time. Carl Lundstrom, the older businessman who bankrolled early infrastructure. They dub it the Spectre, a trial designed to be spectacle. They look less like criminals and more like a band showing up for a gig. The prosecution frames them as criminal masterminds who facilitated millions of copyright violations and earned millions in ad revenue. The defense argues Pirate Bay was perfectly legal under Swedish law, an index, not a host. They never stored copyrighted files, only torrent links outside. Protesters in pirate hats rally. Inside, every seat is filled with journalists from 30 countries. The trial swings between technical minutiae and philosophical warfare. A prosecutor attempts to explain BitTorrent technology and mangles the details so badly that Gottfried interrupts from the defense table to correct him, drawing laughter from the gallery. Entertainment industry lawyers present charts claiming billions in damages. User letters flood the court describing how Pirate Bay gave them access to culture they couldn't otherwise afford. Documentaries, textbooks, rare films. The judge asks pointed questions about profit motives. The defense points out that ad revenue barely covered hosting costs. Peter Sunder blogs the entire proceeding, turning the trial into a daily serial for his 100,000 followers. April 17th, 2009. Judgment Day. The courtroom is standing room only. The judge reads the verdict. Guilty on all counts of assisting copyright infringement. Each defendant receives 1 year in prison. Collectively, they owe 30 million Swedish krona, roughly $3.60, $6 million. The judge's tone is stern, clearly intended to send a message to anyone watching. Within minutes, Pirate Bay's homepage updates its logo to a taper-mouthed Mickey Mouse, a silent protest against what they call Disney-backed censorship. Peter Sunder tells reporters the sentence is bicycle locking, meaningless punishment for a victimless crime. Gottfried is notably absent when the verdict is read. That absence is foreshadowing. Appeals begin immediately. Under Swedish law, convictions aren't final until appeals exhaust. Nobody goes to prison yet. In November 2010, the appeals court delivers a mixed ruling. Prison terms get slightly reduced for some defendants, but damages skyrocket to 46 million krona, over $7 million. It's an impossible sum for 4 guys in their 20s. You can't squeeze blood from a stone, Sunander writes on his blog, pledging that not a single krona will be voluntarily paid. Sweden's Supreme Court refuses to hear further appeals in 2011. The sentences are now final and enforceable. When authorities arrive to collect the defendants, one is missing. Gottfried has vanished. Officially, he missed his appeal hearing due to illness. Unofficially, Swedish media reports he's fled to Cambodia. Frederick Nye relocates to Laos with his wife. Peter Sunder eventually turns himself in after a farewell tour. Speaking at hacker conferences, Carl Lundstrom serves his brief term under house arrest. But Gottfried, the architect, the coder, the engineer who built the machine, he's gone completely dark. Interpol red notices go out. Swedish diplomats contact Southeast Asian governments. How do you arrest a ghost who lives on encrypted communication and moves through countries without extradition treaties? Months pass. Occasional sightings surface. A Swedish expat claims they saw Gottfried at a Phnom Penh internet cafe hunched over a ThinkPad. WikiLeaks later acknowledges Smartome helped build infrastructure for their 2010 cable leaks. He's living exactly like the ideology he coded. Stateless, mobile, impossible to pin down. The Pirate Bay, meanwhile, refuses to die with its founders. In 2012, the site makes a radical evolution. It abandons torrent files entirely, switching to magnet links. A torrent file is a physical target, something police can seize or block. A magnet link is just a text string, a hash. You can't confiscate an equation. No torrent files means less legal hassle, more laws. The site's blog announces the change makes Pirate Bay leaner and nearly impossible to target. They release a compressed backup of the entire site database, just a few gigabytes. Any user can download it and spin up a clone in minutes. The site has become a distributed organism designed to survive even if every original server burns. By late 2011, traffic to Pirate Bay remains steady at record highs. The convictions didn't slow it. The raids didn't stop it. Users treat the site as if the legal drama is happening in a parallel universe. Godfred's creation has outgrown him. It doesn't need its founders to survive. But Godfred's personal story is about to take a darker turn. The Swedish government isn't finished with him, and neither are the Danes. New charges are coming that go far beyond copyright infringement. These charges involve government databases, stolen identities, and allegations that will reframe Godfred's smart art home from rebel to threat. In a humid apartment in Cambodia, a fugitive hears footsteps in the hallway. Law enforcement has spent 18 months hunting him across Southeast Asia. They finally closed the distance. What will they find on his laptop when they kick down the door? And are the charges waiting for him in Sweden just the beginning? The Fugitive, August 30th, 2012. Phnom Penh, Cambodia. A joint task force, Swedish officials and Cambodian police moves on a waterfront apartment in the capital. The door splinters. Inside, they find a bearded 27-year-old hunched over a laptop surrounded by empty energy drink cans and takeout containers. Gottfried Smart is arrested without resistance. Within 72 hours, he's on a flight back to Stockholm, deported at Sweden's urgent request. The pirate who eluded a copyright conviction for 16 months is now in custody to serve his 1-year Pirate Bay sentence. But Swedish prosecutors have bigger plans. They suspect his time off grid wasn't just hiding. They believe he was hacking. New charges hit before he even finishes processing into prison. Unauthorized access to Swedish government databases and attempted bank fraud investigators allege that between 2010 and 2012, while Gottfred was supposedly a fugitive laying low, someone using his computers breached servers at Logica, an IT contractor managing Sweden's tax authority systems. The intrusion accessed national tax IDs for thousands of Swedes and attempted to issue fraudulent driver's licenses. Even more audacious, evidence suggests an attempt to penetrate Nordea bank systems and initiate unauthorized transfers. The narrative shifts. Gottfred isn't just a copyright rebel anymore, he's being framed as a black hat hacker threatening state infrastructure. Gottfred denies everything. His defense is technical and specific. His laptop was compromised by unknown parties who used it as a proxy. I was a puppet, he tells his lawyer, presenting forensic evidence that malware was found on his machine. Someone remote controlled his computer to conduct attacks while he was in Cambodia. It's plausible. Security researchers confirm his system was infected, but prosecutors argue he's sophisticated enough to have staged that infection himself. The trial in 2013 is technical, dense, and divided. The Swedish court delivers a split verdict. Guilty of hacking into Logica systems and accessing confidential government data. Insufficient evidence on the Nordea bank charges. That count gets dismissed. The sentence is 2 years in prison, later reduced to 1 year on appeal. Importantly, the judgment acknowledges his computer was compromised by external actors at certain points, but the court rules he still bears responsibility for the government data breach. As he begins serving time in a Swedish prison, another country is preparing their own case. Denmark has been investigating a devastating hack of their own. In 2012, someone breached CSC, a major IT contractor managing Danish police databases and social security systems. The intrusion stole personal identification numbers for millions of Danish citizens and accessed sensitive law enforcement records. It's one of the worst cybersecurity breaches in Scandinavian history. Danish investigators traced chat logs and digital fingerprints to a familiar alias, Anna-Kotta. In late 2013, as Gottfred finishes his Swedish sentence, Denmark requests extradition. He's immediately transferred to Copenhagen and placed in solitary confinement. The Danish trial in October 2014 is intense and unforgiving. Prosecutors present evidence of a 6-month intrusion into CSC's mainframes, but his defense doubles down on the evil twin theory. The real person behind those IRC chat handles wasn't Gottfred at all. His co-defendant, a 21-year-old Danish hacker, testifies he met the true Anna-Kotta, and it wasn't Smart Art Home. It's a bold strategy, claiming someone else used Gottfried's alias and equipment to commit the crimes. The jury doesn't buy it. The forensic evidence is overwhelming. Stolen CSC data on his drives, access patterns matching his known equipment, chat logs using his distinctive phrasing. On October 27th, 2014, the guilty verdict arrived. The sentence is crushing. 3.5 years in prison, the harshest hacking sentence in Danish history at that point. His co-defendant, portrayed as a minor accomplice, receives a lenient sentence and walks free with time served. Gottfred, hearing the verdict, shows no emotion. 3 years of running, 2 trials, and multiple convictions have drained the fight from his face. September 2015. Gottfred walks out of a Danish prison thin and hardened. Denmark attempts to deport him immediately, but Swedish police rearrest him on the prison steps for a final 1-month sentence. Bureaucratic leftovers from the hacking convictions. By December 2015, all debts are paid. He's finally free. His mother meets him at the gates, telling reporters he just wants to sit by a keyboard again after 3 years away from one. Gottfred has lived the complete hacker narrative: creation, glory, exile, conviction, imprisonment, release. And the Pirate Bay, still online, still serving torrent from servers, hosted in locations authorities can't easily reach, maintained by anonymous admins and true believers. The site has outlived multiple raids, dozens of domain seizures, and the imprisonment of all 3 founders. It's not as dominant as it once was. Streaming services and fragmented file sharing have changed the landscape, but type the URL and you'll find it, or one of countless proxies still sailing. The Pirate Bay proved a brutal lesson. You can't kill what has no center, but some people never learn. In 2011, a cybersecurity executive named Aaron Barr thought he'd cracked the code he believed he could unmask Anonymous, another faceless, leaderless movement that had already brought down corporations and governments. Barr was so confident he announced his plan publicly. He'd expose Anonymous's leadership, prove they weren't untouchable, and sell his intelligence to the FBI. He had names, he had evidence, he had a plan. What he didn't have was any idea what he just started. Within 72 hours, Anonymous retaliated in a way that would make the Pirate Bay's raids look gentle. They didn't just hack HB Jerry, they dismantled everything Barr had built, piece by humiliating piece. If you want to see what happens when someone declares war on the internet itself, check out our video on the hacker who tried to unmask Anonymous. Because sometimes the hunter becomes the prey.